My daily essentials include my phone, my earbud, and this tiny 4K 60 camera that lets me shoot almost anywhere. So let's begin.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. It's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just how I should. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. It's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just how I
That was just a glimpse what you can achieve with this small piece of camera when you have really dialed it in. And in today's video, I'll show you the best setting for the different scenario, how to use this camera to get different shots with or without accessories, and finally, how to color grade its footage. So hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Let's start with the basic camera settings that are essential. First, to get the best quality of this camera, we're gonna scroll down, going into the menu, click settings and find the video encoding, and then set it to H2.65, which offers the iLog support, and set the bitrate to high. Resolution, I recommend to shoot it in 4K 30 or 24 instead of 60. Unless you want to shoot a slow motion. And then for the ratio, down here for flexibility, I use the 4K 4:3 aspect ratio. That way you capture the full sensor and have more room to reframe later in the post. And then for the duration of the clip, I recommend keeping that at infinity to have an uninterrupted recording experience. And also at the 60, you don't get the active HDR, short for high dynamic range, which is one of the biggest feature in this camera. Please note, to access this setting, you need PureView to be turned off. If you are in a scene with harsh light and shadow, HDR can lighten up the shadow while not blowing the details in the highlight like sky. But if you are in a scene that is evenly lit, then you can turn it off for the better footage. Stabilization, I'll recommend to keep on the standard for the normal use. For heavy sports activity like running, trail biking, to high. And we will swipe to the right to enable the iLog and turn on also the color preview. This way you will get the flatter video, but you can still preview the true colors. The reason I've been avoiding using the Instacams because of the standard 8-bit footage. If you're someone like me who use multiple cameras and like to match the colors in the post, it was a big no. But recently Insta introduced a iLog that gives you a footage you can grade easily, that we'll see later in this video. But if you don't want all the hassle, the color reproduction out of the camera is actually good. And they also have bunch of inbuilt filter profiles that I rarely use because I like to do that manually. Then we scroll from the right to set the metering setting. You can scroll between matrix that evenly lights the environment or face if you are in a dark scenario to get better exposure on your face. But in the bright setting, it does blows highlights for the rest of the scene, so I normally shoot it at the matrix. The video sharpness will set to the medium or even low, where we have a lot of objects like something in a forest or a busy street to not get the over sharpened action camera looking footage. Then if you want more control, there are more pro settings that you have to adjust according to the scene. First, the white balance. For the daytime, sunrise or sunset, nighttime in the city, and for the camping with fire or flashlight, you can dial these settings. For the shutter speed, I have very mixed feeling because action camera does provide stabilization on higher shutter speed. So unless you're doing a static shot on a tripod or with a very little movement, I won't recommend it. With that, you also have to use the ND filters to get the correct amount of exposure. But if you still feel the camera is overexposing in the standard mode, you can fiddle with the EV to set it around 0.3 in most scenarios, but if you are pointing towards something bright like sun, you can set it up to 0.7. Once you have set these, we set your lens perspective. I use mega view for the widest frame while also having the minimal distortion, but if you want no distortion at all, you can go with the linear. That's going to crop a footage a bit, but in other profiles you do get a really heavy distortion on the side. I also recommend to have the level indicator and grid on. It always helps you to better reframe the shot. For the night videos, we have a dedicated video modes. So right now I'm shooting in the standard with the HDR on, and because it's actually really well lit, so even after turning the HDR off you won't notice any difference. But it becomes really good when you turn on the PureView mode. So in this mode you have actually a really good lighting, and it actually feels kind of overexposed at this point. So we'll try in some more dark areas. Pure view mode is designed specifically for the night. We're shooting 4K at 30 FPS. You get a better lit scene and less jittery feel when shooting in night with this mode. In pure view, you see very less or non-existent grain, although it does over smoothen the image sometimes. So adding a little grain does make it a little bit more natural. Or you can also use the log image if you prefer more natural looking video, although you will have a lot of grain to deal with. And it's very important before you take this tiny piece on its own to have the correct setting dialed in. But here's the benefit of having a possibility of detachable module that still transmits signal to certain meters. You can use it to monitor shots, while with other camera you have to do it with the phone. But having a dedicated screen that can be adjusted to different angle is actually a game changer, and your phone is free to do other stuff like read out the script notes. To make footage cinematic, it's more about the creativity with lighting and composition. In most of the scenarios, I use three major shots: a wide angle for establishing the environment, medium close-up for context or what exactly is happening in the scene, and an extreme close-up for the details, where you can also use a dedicated macro lens, getting a higher quality of close-up shots. Also, the best part of this camera is that it is so small that you can actually place it anywhere. And with the magnetic surface, you can actually stuck it to metals to get more variation that would be impossible otherwise. And given the great stabilization of this camera, you can add movement to your shot without the need of any gimbal, from small reveals or to smooth looking walking shot. If you are shooting a 4K static shot, you can also add a subtle digital zoom in the post. One other area where this camera really shines is you can add more variations to your shot by adding a POV. It gives viewer the feel of what it's like to be there. To achieve this, you have to unplug the camera, and using the chest mount or using the clip on your cap or maybe some third-party mounts, it works amazing when you are on rides or if you are doing some action where you want your hands not holding the camera. Really bring the viewer into the scene. That brings us to the other accessory that level up your shot. For this camera, I have bunch of tripods. If you have bought Creator Combo, you will get this small selfie stick that acts also as a small tripod. This is a medium which you have to pay extra, or a combination of other tripods. If you are a vlogger or a solo filmmaker, having a good tripod is a must if you want to get different shots inside or outside. Then we have another versatile tool called suction cup. They have an official one called pivot head that you can stick to both flat metallic and non-metallic surface to get great variations of the shot, or you can get even stronger one. You can buy some third-party one like I have from the Telesin. You can even stick this to the cars outside. And the next accessory that gives your video a creative edge is the magic arm. It gives this unique object POV angles that you can basically attach it to different stuff to get the camera angles that wouldn't be possible otherwise. But you're not limited to that. You can create custom setups like combining stuff like this pivot head with the tripod and carry the sticker, chest cap mounts in this tiny bag to have a very versatile shooting setup. Another important aspect of capturing a good footage is in the audio. The camera has good enough mic for silent spots which sound something like this. It is actually not bad, but it does pick a lot of background noise. To get the best audio of the inbuilt mic, you should go to. And if we go into the audio settings here and make sure this is set to the voice enhancement if you are going to do any talking and want the best audio. If you're talking less, you can set it into the auto wind and noise reduction, the surrounding, like if you're cycling, running, or if you are on a beach on a very windy day. But it's always good to plug it into the external microphone. You can use the Insta mics to connect it without the receiver, but personally I prefer using the one I already have, like the DJI or the Holland mics. And it's also possible to even connect the mic via Bluetooth, but which does not sound great. Also, given the wide angle and the low light performance, you can also use this camera to create time lapses during the day and also during the night. In that we get a bunch of profiles, for which one thing I recommend, after going into the profile, scroll the shoot length. That will give you an idea of the length of the video, so you can adjust the intervals accordingly. And then a really interesting one, the TimeShift, to create this cool looking hyperlapses while you are moving. All the video here are same as a journal for this one too. Then we have a Starlapse mode. Here you can create a 12.5 MP images and option to go up to pure image plus raw, which is what I use to get the raw photos if I want to edit them later in the Lightroom. And you also have an option to get a star trail video, which is pretty cool, and you can also get an image, but I don't suggest that. For this mode I suggest dialing in these settings for the city environment and for capturing dark surroundings away from the city to get some amazing star lapses. And with this camera you also have option to turn it on at particular times, so you can set it up and it will automatically turn it on during the night at a desired time frame. No need to sit it in the front of the camera and set up the alarms. And the similar can be done also for the time lapses. And then we have a photo mode. For an action camera, it's actually pretty good and we get some really good results. You can shoot it in same 12.5 megapixels or 50 megapixels and also switch between RAW or RAW plus JPG. And as you increase the resolution in RAW, the processing time does add up a little. You can also set up timers if you wanna pose for the photo. And you can capture live 3-second photo too, like iPhones. You get access to same settings over here, but here I do recommend experimenting with the color profiles and shutter speed for getting some really cool looking shots. And this rotating screen surely comes in handy for a waist level perspective. And if you want to shoot some fast shot, you can also do some burst mode up to 30 photos in 1 second. Also useful if you are doing a group photos to have everybody's eyes open. And lastly, the interval mode. So interval mode lets you also shoot a time lapse in photos. Here you can go up to 15 megapixel with RAW to get even higher quality time lapses and with all the same camera control. Now from using all this method, you got the footage, but you need this final sauce to make it cinematic called color grading. If you're shooting in iLog, your footage will look flat. And most important part is to convert it into the standard color profile like Rec 709, for which you can follow two procedures. First, using the Insta360 app. You have to select the footage, then go into editor, click the LUT and enable it. And you have the natural colors and also some cool other stuff like Clarity Plus, which actually makes your footage more clear. Or you can use bunch of softwares that support LUT import. Insta360 provides its own LUT, which is actually pretty accurate. For example, here I'm going to use CapCut, import the footage, and with one click I have the colors. And after that, it's up to your creative expression to tweak it further for the look you want by using the additional LUT or doing it manually. So this was how you can get the most out of the Insta360 GO Ultra. But if you own other devices like DJI, I have created similar guides for other devices as well. And if you have any more questions, drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And for more gear tips, I'll see you in the next one.